Welcome to the roast of Ludwigs Roast.
It's the inaugural Streamer Awards.
It's the 20th of June, 2020. The psychiatrist and Twitch streamer Dr. K posts a video interviewing growing streamer qtcinderella, or Qt.
So, and how do I refer to you?
You can call me Blair.
Blair. Okay.
The general topic is confidence, and throughout the interview, Dr. K and Qt discuss self-worth, perfectionism, and many aspects of her life. At this time, she had just put in her 2-week notice to quit her day job, and through the video, you can sense her anxiety about the decision.
I've always said to myself that I couldn't handle Twitch mentally as a full-time job, so I'm very scared. Going into Twitch knowing that I'll never be the top is kind of like very daunting. I've said this to a lot of people because I felt very defeated, like quitting my job, because I find my self-worth 100% in, oh, she is successful. And now I'm not that. And so it's like, well, now who am I?
Compare that to March 12th, 2022. The Streamer Awards finished up their inaugural event. It's an enormous success. Several of the biggest creators attending, more than 380,000 people watching, and fans and creators alike expressing their enthusiasm. In the event's closing dialogue, Qt's co-host Maya Higa offers praise in her closing remarks, with the audience enthusiastically applauding.
I've been up here tonight the whole time, and I'm so honored to be a part of this event. I know my name's all over it, but this is all Qt.
Well,
like, qtcinderella with this event, come on.
Things change quickly, don't they? Qt had become one of the most significant figures in streaming, and continues to maintain that presence. She doesn't have an enormous community like XQC or Asmongold, and she doesn't release constant high-performing videos like Ludwig or Moist Critical. What she has done, though, is completely change the landscape of Twitch. She's pushed and continues to push the envelope of collaborative content. The Roast of Ludwig, Shitcamp, and the Streamer Awards are some of the most notable streaming events in recent memory. In this video, we're going to take a look at how she did it. The first big event in Qt's career had pretty modest beginnings. A nice surprise for her partner Ludwig. Ludwig was nearing his 3rd year of streaming, and for the occasion, she organized a roast with some of his friends, kind of like Comedy Central or Dean Martin. Now, this wasn't the first time someone had a roast. For example, TwitchCon had a roast centered around Tim the Tapman. Not only that, the Smash Bros scene, Ludwig's home base, had roasts for figures like Hugs and Scar. Roasts were nothing new, but compared to the others that had the backing of Twitch and Beyond the Summit, Ludwig's roast was all Qt and her team. It might sound like I'm belittling Qt's efforts, but I'm doing the opposite. Because while it wasn't as groundbreaking as some of her future projects, the event had the personal and polished touch that would define her next events. Instead of buttoned-up readings of ghost-written jokes between people that didn't really know one another, Ludwig's roast was simply a group of friends ribbing each other, many of them sharing personal stories.
Slime is a really great help, and he adds a lot of value to not just my stream, but my life. And he takes that same value away when we do a sponsored stream and he talks about sucking and fucking for 10 minutes straight. And they have to talk to me and say, you can't talk about sucking and fucking.
That's true, that really happened.
We didn't even talk about that, you should have known.
I feel like I like jokes more than you.
That's not at all, though, to say the event was poorly put together. Qt's organization is very impressive. If you look at the behind-the-scenes footage, you get a sense of how much of a nightmare everything is. Hiring support staff, choosing a venue, and scheduling rapid COVID tests for every invite. And yet, it all got done. And for an event put together without a company supporting it right in the middle of a pandemic, it looks pretty awesome. I mean, seriously, she even had a painting made of Ludwig in a sailor's outfit. Look at this thing. What's interesting, though, is that even with how successful and beloved the event was, when I spoke with Qt, she still wasn't satisfied with it.
I am a perfectionist, and so it's usually after the event I really kick myself. Like Roast of Ludwig, the camera, maybe no one noticed this, but we had 2 different camera angles, and for some reason they had 2 different presets on them. So one was more orange hued and one was more white hued, and it still drives me insane. I still think about it.
She was probably correct in her assumption. I didn't notice, and I'm sure no one else really did. But it's that type of attention to detail that gives Cutie such a valuable skill set for Twitch. It was now time to really show it. Cutie's passion to bring people together goes back to when she was a teenager. In talking, it seems event planning has occurred throughout her life.
I've been passionate about planning events my entire life. When I was 16, it's kind of funny, I planned a Alice in Wonderland murder mystery dinner for my 16th birthday. And out of the 12 people I invited, 6 people showed up. I wasn't very popular in high school. I had a really hard time. I was super bullied in high school. I just didn't necessarily fit in. And so the cool thing about the streaming industry is it's a bunch of people that didn't fit in. A lot of streamers have the same background as me. And so I'm on my island of misfit toys, but I now am the one with the ability to want to bring people together.
It didn't happen immediately, at least not on a huge scale. As she began growing as a streamer, the anxieties of her high school years still weighed on her. Actually, it wasn't until her streamer friend Milena organized ShitCon, or a placement for TwitchCon when it was canceled, that things changed. It was there that Cutie rediscovered her passion for bringing people together. The event was simple. Invite a handful of the biggest streamers in the world to meet in Austin. From there, have some funny discussions, play games, and just have a good time. It wasn't overly complicated, but that's what made it fun. It was that authenticity that made for a much more personal broadcast. More than that, the event's reception was fantastic. Great viewing numbers, with many fans calling it one of the best streams of the year. I'd argue, though, that the most important aspect of it was how it impacted Cutie, and therefore the rest of Twitch.
I hit a bit of a standstill with COVID where I felt like I wasn't really going anywhere with streaming. I wasn't providing anything. I didn't feel driven. And then my friend Milena planned ShitCon, and I went to it and everyone loved it. And so it's really Milena that inspired me to get back into it, that maybe they didn't come to my parties when I was 16, but maybe they'll come now.
It was there that Shit Camp was born. Cutie's camping event was where we really got to see her stretch her organizational muscles. It was way more ambitious than the Roast of Ludwig, more ambitious than the event's inspiration. In every way, Cutie pushed the envelope. Instead of a few hours, the event would go on for almost a week. There'd be an even wider assortment of different streamers, and the events and broadcast strategy would be as refined as a Swiss-made watch. Playing the watchmaker was qtcinderella. Cutie's project management and perfectionism made her event a benchmark for collaborative content. Using her experience in corporate management, she took a meticulous approach to making the event run as smoothly and effectively as possible. She wanted there to be a steady supply of unique content. She wanted to make everything run on a smooth schedule. And she wanted to give all the streamers the opportunity to host the event to make it beneficial for everyone. It was a tall task for anyone, but Cutie was one of the only streamers, perhaps the only one, that had the skill and will to do it. Taking advantage of processes like the Franklin Covey time management system, she made spreadsheet after spreadsheet, coming up with content ideas, assigning them to people's channels, and scheduling them in the most effective way possible. Some of the events included an in-real-life scavenger hunt, a pajama party, and a 32-person kickball tournament featuring members of 100 Thieves and Offline TV. They even had a promotional theme song.
Let's gather around at Shit Camp and sing our Shit Camp song.
Of course, it'd be unfair to say Cutie's the only person involved in streaming that's capable of creating big in-person events. Obviously, there's stuff like TwitchCon that do something similar. Those events definitely have too corporate of a feel, though. Cutie's unique role, though, is that she has the perspective of a streamer and stays true to it. It's that balance between professionalism and raw spirit that makes her capable of producing unique events.
I actually did get some pushback from some of the streamers attending when they saw the schedule. They were like, Cutie, no one's gonna like this schedule. Like, viewers aren't gonna like this. They're gonna feel like there's too much going on. Like, we're not just chilling. It's too structured. And I was like, no. It's all about having a plan and then letting the plan live. You know, I don't show up to girls' night and say, okay, now we have to do nail polish. Now we have to do this. Now we have to do that. I have everything provided there, and then you let it flow naturally and you let streamers do what they do best. And that's improv. All streamers are just amazing improvers. So as long as you have fun tools for them to improv with and activities, then you're always going to have a lovely, lovely stream without it being overproduced.
As Cutie predicted, it worked beautifully. the event was a rousing success. It averaged more than 65,000 viewers throughout the event, received tons of enthusiasm from fans, as well as words of praise from all the creators involved. Several of the smaller streamers received boosts in popularity following everything, and Qt recalls the splash it created in the streaming industry. 100 Thieves soon organized their own camping-themed event. Twitch rivals told her they were inspired by her, and offline TV's Skara told her how important he thought her events were to streaming. From all looks, it was a near-perfect project.
When Shit Camp ended, everyone went around the room, we popped champagne, we gave high fives, they said, let's go to the club. I stayed at the hotel and I cried. I was exhausted. I felt like it was a failure because everyone was tired the last day, and so the last stream wasn't like super hype. I felt like I didn't do good enough. I felt like people, too many people didn't get the opportunity to stream. I internalized all of this and I just felt bad.
It's rough to hear, but I think that speaks to why these events were so high quality. That's how seriously she took it. The air of perfectionism was still there. She was using it to make good content.
The after effect of these things, I take it really personally because I just want it to be better.
It was about to get better. Besides what she mentioned in the previous clip, one of the main problems Qt saw in the event was that there were many people she couldn't invite. It was an issue that couldn't be solved simply by scaling up either. With thousands of notable creators, doubling or even tripling the occupancy wouldn't have made a dent. She'd moved to her most ambitious project yet, the Streamer Awards. An award show to not only celebrate the work done in streaming, but another opportunity for streamers to befriend one another. She pitched the idea to Twitch, and they showed interest, but also had the same exact scope she had been trying to avoid, over a year of production and corporate involvement. Qt wanted the event to be in line with her vision, and she wanted the turnaround to be fast. Once again, she'd have to do it herself. The plans were ambitious. Qt's dream called for over 200 of the biggest streamers in the world, production quality rivaling mainstream award shows, all done in under 6 months. As she got to work, however, Qt understood that the hardest task wasn't managing logistics, navigating COVID testing, or even putting up tens of thousands of dollars of her own money without a clear return on investment. It was inviting the people.
The thing that's making me most anxious is just the social anxiety of reaching out to people that maybe you admire from the sidelines that you've never really had a conversation with, and being like, hey, my name's Blair. I don't really know you, but I'd love for you to come to this event because it's just going to be a fun time.
It was a task far scarier than all the social anxiety-inducing events she'd planned in the past. As the event went live, though, the guest list was full. Streamers from almost every corner of the internet were attending, from WoW to Smash to speedrunning. Over 380,000 concurrent viewers tuned in at peak viewership, higher than many of the biggest streamers in the world. She presented a polished product that nevertheless stayed true to the streaming industry. It didn't force ads down your throat constantly, yet it still had production that rivaled that of industry award shows with multi-million-dollar budgets. The Streamer Awards are a benchmark and arguably the greatest collaborative effort any streamer has put together so far. More than that, its self-awareness and authenticity are a rare breath of fresh air, which other award shows often tend to forget.
One more thing to all the viewers out there before we say goodnight. Don't forget to Twitch Prime.
I wanted to end off mentioning one final event of hers, a little Christmas concert streamers could hang out and perform some music. It wasn't as notable as the others on the surface, but there's one instance that I think beautifully drives home what Qt's all about. At the start of her Twitch career, as she talked about in that Dr. K clip, Qt was on a journey of self-discovery, seeking the answer to a question so many of us go through. Who am I? She seems to have finally found it.
And hopefully it's setting everyone up for a moment of Christmas spirit, which is like happiness and smiling, and everything I do on Twitch comes from a place of, I want to help people that feel alone. So I hope if you come to the concert, or if you're watching and you have that moment when you feel alone, you see someone else in chat and you're not alone. You have somebody, no matter who they are. And I hope Christmas can help everyone remember that.
From going through her social media posts and streams, videos on her ideals, and speaking with her, it's clear that she bleeds this ideal. In the end, these events are more pure than just good content. More than a roast, it's a chance for close friends to share some laughs. More than a cannonade of content, it's an opportunity for new friends to form memories together. And more than an award show, it's a bridge for that island of misfit toys to reach other reefs.
Cutie came to me with this idea and said, hey, I want to create a big award show. And if it was tips out from OTK, I'd say that you're crazy, but QTcinderella, I said, this will work.